Coming up on this program, we show you how to get connected. Find out how to choose an internet service provider. Discover the newest form of communication, electronic mail.
Ways down and ready to ride. One by one, billion by billion, been holding up half the sky. Raise your hand if you're ready and willing, if you know it's time. Time for a girl on time. Time for a girl on time. Time for
And she appeared, asking you shall receive. I'm not that late. Sorry. It's my Friday. You'll forgive me. Although I was startled to look over into the chat and see your check mark, Mikey. Anyways, I hope that everybody is doing good. Chuck, always working on something. We love it. We love to hear about it. Beverly, so lovely to see you. I know we are sending good vibes this week. NPC is here. Thank God. I actually sent a memo. I already sent a memo, so I'm going to have to send another memo to retract that memo about you. Courtney has boob envy that is misplaced, but well appreciated. Thank you so much, my love. Cellulite Yoga Pants, you're gonna lurk tonight, I thought I saw. We have court to watch. I'm so thankful that, oh, you like busy hands. When you say that, Chuck, I think of something naughty. Not appropriate. Anyways, but that's just me and my tiny little hands and what they get up to. But we are going to watch Thurston County. You know, YouTube has classified this as a podcast. Just so you all know, you're on a podcast now. Right? Just so you know. This is a podcast about... actually, it could be a podcast. What? Why can't it be a podcast? It is. It's a podcast about protection orders in Thurston County. And we watch the protection order, then we talk about it live. And you're part of the podcast. It's avant-garde. Anyways, YouTube has classified this as a podcast now. So I just want you to know that. Just be careful. I'm just joking. I just noticed that. I noticed a few things today. Maybe I'm just paying attention extra or whatnot. Hi, Adam. Let me find the right button to press. I wish I only had like 6 buttons. I have like a lot of buttons. A lot of buttons. And then I gotta go over here to the other button place. There we go.
Whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Oh, hold on. During the podcast,
Yes,
at
Your
the
Honor.
beginning of the podcast, you need to raise your right hand and swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. That's part of the podcast rules that we have. So please, everybody do that. You don't really need to stand up. I don't know why the people in the courtroom are standing up, but also everybody's making me look a little dead. Vampire-like. I'm getting vampire vibes from me, but also from Attorney Cruz. Her blue eyes rivaling mine.
Maybe see it. And Mr. Poshog or Ms. Whiteside, who's going to be the primary speaker this morning?
I would like to be.
Okay, Ms. Whiteside. All right. You're neighbors of Mr. Yost, is that right?
That's correct. We live 7 houses away.
And you indicate.
Sorry, before we start, how many of you know your neighbor? Yeah, the PS5, Chuck. I would too. To be honest with you, tonight is my Friday. And if I was still a gamer lady instead of a court hoarder YouTube wannabe, I would also be playing the PS5. But instead, I'm doing this. Just so you know, how many of you know your 7 houses down neighbor? No fucking chance. Not a chance. No way. Absolutely not. Can you imagine feuding with them? What a waste of time.
In your petition that Mr. Yost yells at you, he threatens you. So give me some specifics.
Right, so I would like to speak first because this last incident, and the reason I have to look this way to look at Walker, but I guess the camera is here, but the most recent incident involved me, but I would say my husband is really the target of the anger. But we filed this petition because I was now involved in not feeling safe. So did you want me to just tell you what happened on that incident?
Sure.
Then? Okay.
And actually, before you start, let me make
Okay,
sure.
yeah.
Mr. Yost has filed documents himself. Have you
Yes.
reviewed those documents?
Yeah, I have them here. And so what I was going to say, first I have a question because I've never been through this before. Is there a transcript of what's happening right now?
We're making a recording,
A recording, okay.
and if you want a transcript of it later, you can
We
make that
just didn't
request.
see cause to hire a lawyer and file official documents. So there were 2 things I wanted to correct in Walker's statement that are about me, since this is a legal document. And just in case, and my name is not spelled C-A-L-I, it's minor, but if there's a record.
Okay.
That's not correct. If you want to Google me, you won't find me as C-A-L-I. Also, I am not from a wealthy family in Philadelphia. I don't know who Walker's thinking of when he says that in this document. And that is not me. Okay, so just 2 clarifications. So I don't even know where it's been probably 6 weeks ago. We were walking our dogs, and we had our son's dog, to the lake, which is adjacent to Walker's property. We have to walk past his driveway to get to a gated community lake. And we saw his adult son, 21-year-old son, walking Walker's dog. George is the dog. Bodie is the son. We've known Bodie his life. He's 21 years old now. Our daughter used to babysit him and his little brother. Our daughter's 32 now. We stopped to talk to Bodie and ask him how he was doing. And we had our son's dog, who's a long-haired dog, and Shaggy.
Ma'am, stop. I'm not sure if you're aware, but this is my Friday night, and you are on my nerves already so much. I don't care how long or short your dog's hair is. Why is everybody talking to me about dogs today? Why? Seriously. What the fuck?
And we've always had labs, and we said, Bodie, where do you get George groomed? We've never had to use a groomer. At that point, I wasn't aware that Walker had pulled into his driveway. I hadn't seen him, didn't know he was there. And this is where it's different than the order.
It's your birthday, Adam? Okay, well, I'll sing to you in a minute. But you already made me smile for real. So I'm not mad about her loving her dog so much anymore. I know I sound vicious and I'm mean, and I love you if you have a dog and that you love that dog so much. But you have to understand something. Part of my trauma is that I never had a dog. I had a dog for like 6 weeks and then my mom took it away because it wouldn't be trained. And so you have to understand. I come from a different place. Okay? I come from a different set of circumstances upon which you may not understand.
What he says happened. When I was first aware that Walker was present, Bodie turned to the driveway and said, "Dad, where do we get George?" And Walker came charging out of his driveway yelling, "Don't you dare talk to my kid. Don't you dare come on my property and talk to my kid."
Yeah, just address me. You don't need
Okay. I'm gonna see his
to. Right,
face
yeah,
now.
just address me.
Okay, don't you dare come on my property and talk to my kid. And I'm still shocked. I was in shock. I was like,
We're 30
Walker.
feet.
Okay, no, one at a time.
I said, "Walker, we're standing in the road. We're not on your property. We're standing in the road." And he said, "You are in front of my mailbox. And don't you dare talk to any of my kids." And at that point, he says that he told Bodie, go walk his 21-year-old son, go walk the dog. I never heard that. What I saw was Bodie look at the ground and just walk away. And my feeling was, ooh, he doesn't want to be crossways with his dad. So he walked away. Unfortunately, he was a witness, walked away. But the other things that I wanted to correct is that I never saw a phone in Walker's hands. He says he had a phone and had it on speaker and someone was able to hear. If he had it on speaker and it was in his pocket, I don't know how that witness could have heard accurately. But I never saw phones, so I wanted to correct that. And it's interesting that he documented also in what he filed is the text message he sent not to just one of the board members of our neighborhood association, he sent it to all of them. Although Ted never received a copy, it looked like he was on the list, but we couldn't find it in his phone. But saying in the text message, "Don't trespass on my property." And where this really concerns me is, does he perceive that his property extends from his driveway to the mailbox? We have to walk down that city road to get to our community park, which we pay, neighborhood dues to use this gated community park, to use the lake. If his perception is that's his property, then since this event, I've been walking with my phone in my hand, with my camera on in case I need to document anything. And it makes me feel very unsafe. The other really important thing I want to correct is that I stepped.
Courtney, you're making me laugh so hard. Today I talked to some people who had trust funds for their dogs. That's part of where my unbridled disdain comes from today. These people strike me as people that might also, I guess, I don't give a fuck. I don't know. Maybe I'm just jealous. I'm like jealous, like, wow, this dog has a trust fund. And I don't. But like, do most, like, you know what I mean? Anyways, I'm just laughing at it. I'm trying to decompress about that. And then these people show up with their fucking short hair, long hair dog situation, and I'm just already dealing with a dog situation myself. I'm about to take a TPO out against the dogs that have trust funds, because, maybe it's worth it.
There were back and forth yelling between my husband and Walker. I stepped between them because I am conflict averse and I wanted to de-escalate the situation. And I stepped in front of my husband with my hands down and said, "Walker, stop. Just stop it, stop." Because he was approaching us and getting closer. And he looked right through me. He was trying to get his face as to Ted's as he possibly could to yell in his face. And he didn't acknowledge that I was a human being standing in front of him. He pushed into me to get as close. He didn't touch me with his hands. He didn't threaten me, but he pushed into me to get as close as he could to my husband. And when he says in here that Ted said he was going to throw something at him, and he said, go ahead. I think Ted said, I'm going to call the police. And Walker said, go ahead. We went into that. So there was a long period of time before we made it home and called the police, and the police came and took our statements. And Walker says that he sent the text message right away. If you look at the timestamps, you can see he sent it after the police came, the text message to all the board members. But what surprised me next was when the police officer took my statement, he said, would you like to press charges? And I was really surprised. I was like,
I hope that didn't happen to you, Mikey, where you pushed into people before and then they wanted to press charges. That would be terrible. But of course, we don't kink shame, but we do require consent. Also, I'm getting definite Karen vibes all over the screen. Everywhere.
what do you mean? He said, well, did he push into you? He said, yeah, he did. And I said, no, I do not want to press charges. I do not want to provoke Walker. I just want him to stop. I want to de-escalate this. But it was important to document it because this is the third time, and I will say honestly that my husband has told me of Walker yelling at him, and I thought I didn't see it, but I saw it this time, and it was shocking, and it came out of nowhere like a rocket, and it alarmed me. The other thing in here that involves me that I want to correct is there was an occasion where Walker asked me to ask Ted to stop talking about him. That did happen, but actually, and he says in here, he talked to me because Ted had stopped talking to him. What actually happened was we walked out of our house with our dog, which I guess is what we're usually doing when we're walking on the street. And there's Walker waiting out on the road in front of our house. And Ted and I were together. And Walker said, Callie, would you please tell your husband to stop talking about me? And Ted was standing right behind me, and it felt really absurd. I'm like, okay. And I turned to Ted and I said, Ted, stop talking about Walker. Because it was like, okay, why don't you just tell him that? He's standing right here. So anyways, I just think he's misportraying the interaction. There's so many more things that I would like the opportunity to correct, but my husband is extremely friendly. He talks to everyone in the neighborhood, and Walker even says that in here. If you want to know what's going on locally.
She says that like she's prefacing him to speak. What an odd thing to say. What does that mean, ma'am? Is that the soft swinging thing? That he's very friendly? Is that how that works?
You asked Ted, he talks to everyone. That is true. And sometimes he talks to excess. That is true also, and that's yeah. He's also known to walk through the neighborhood with his blower and blow people's driveways off for them. We have an elderly neighbor. She really appreciates it. We have a neighbor with health issues. He really appreciates it. Not everybody maybe appreciates it. If they say, please don't do that, he doesn't do it. My husband was president of the neighborhood association. I think we were trying to remember exactly 2 years, and on the board for at least 3 years. So he's been very involved also in maintaining the community park. He does trim bushes. He loves to do yard work and landscaping.
He goes around blowing the neighbors driveways and trimming the neighbors' bushes. Is that what I'm to understand the issue is here? With Ted, the neighborhood the neighborhood menace at this point? Is this what it sounds like? He's walking around blowing everybody. She's like, I kick him out of the house for 6 to 7 hours a day. I'm not exactly sure what he does that time, but I hear the blower going a lot, you know.
He doesn't own a machete. I don't know what that's about, but he does have walkers and he does trim bushes that are hanging out in the road and whatnot. And he does trim the bushes adjacent to the entry to the park, which also is adjacent to the walkers' property. That is true. One more thing about that, I guess I want to say, because this has happened since 4 weeks ago when we came to court to resolve this, and Walker asked for an extension. So after this last incident, which happened right in front of the community park, and we ended the situation by getting ourselves inside the park and locking the gate behind us. And Ted and I went and sat on the dock, which is usually a really tranquil place for us. And we were trying to calm down after this last encounter. I said, you know what? I cannot relax here because you can look straight across and see Walker's dock and his property's right there. I'm like, we need to just go home. And Ted said, we need to call the police. Since then,
We need to call the police right now. I can't even sit on our dock and not think about this. We have to call the police. Oh my God. Is that... Did I mishear that? Are these... I need to make a pilgrimage. I need to visit Thurston County. I want to... I want to go to Thurston County and just soak in the neighborhoods, the people blowing each other, the period fences, the smells, the sights, the sounds. I mean, it is high on my bucket list. I have been all over the world, you understand? To Greece, all over the place, to Italy, to Spain, and yet I want to go to Thurston County desperately. Somebody tell me they have a Jack in the Box and the deal is sealed.
we were in the park and I was laying on the dock, and George, the dog, came running in and like trampled me as I'm laying on the dock. George has boundary issues. If someone has boundary issues, it's George, but he's an adult male, unneutered dog, and he behaves the way you would expect an adult male unneutered dog to behave, I guess. But we're like, what are you doing in the park? I stood up and I was like, George, go home, George, go. And I walked him to the end of the dock, but instead of George walking straight up to the gate where everyone comes and goes, he walked to the fence adjacent to Walker's property. And I thought, how is he getting through there? He's not supposed to be able to let himself into the park. And a couple of visits later, when I noticed I was not comfortable to go investigate if I thought Walker was home, but he wasn't home. And I went to look at the fence, and it's been unbolted from the post and open, panel's been open so that he can come freely from his own property into the park, where I used to feel safe if I could shut the gate behind him. And know also that an unleashed dog isn't going to just let himself in, pitching out. And apparently there was a so-called incident with a deer that, I don't know, the board's dealing with it, but I no longer feel safe in the park even because it's completely open to, it's an extension of his back.
Good night, Beverly. We love you. Get rest. I'm sorry that we had to expose you to this mess. We'll do our best not to digress. Good night. This is terrible. I need to shut the fuck up or else we'll never get through this.
Backyard now. So that when I saw what he said about Ted thinks he owns the park, I just thought, well,
Adds up to that.
yeah, I think that was the main things that I wanted to say. Oh, I did want to say something about Ally's declaration. Can we go back and forth, or
No.
would you rather finish with me?
Yeah.
Okay. We've been told by several neighbors, again, Ted knows everyone in the neighborhood and they talk to him. It isn't just him talking to them. They come, they approach him, talk to him. And we've been told by several that Walker had been making the rounds and asking people to make a statement against Ted. And they were like, I wanted to let you know. I said no. I thought it was really weird and made me uncomfortable. Well, that he asked me that. But so Ally lives directly, her property kind of faces Walker's and then the park. And she and her husband, Travis grew up in the house and they purchased it from Travis's dad and his stepmom, and Ted knows the dad really well, but they've retired and moved out of state. But so Ally, she says she's been there about 2 years. And I just have really strong feelings about this, and I'm gonna try and stay really calm. But as a mother, what comes to mind, she might not like how Ted delivered the message, but when you're a neighbor, if you feel like there's something unsafe happening in the neighborhood, if you see something, say something. And I'm upset because our daughter used to babysit for Walker and his first wife, Anne Marie. And she spent a lot of time in that house. And when you find out later, it wasn't safe. You feel like you didn't protect your child. And I would want, if I was Ally, I would want to be told. If someone had concerns, I would want to be told. And what Walker doesn't like is that we're friends with his ex-wife, Anne Marie. We're friends with his ex-wife, Bobby Jean. We're friends with his adult sons. And we're friends with them. And he might not like us talking to them, but they're human beings and they have a right to say they don't want to talk to us, but I don't think Walker has a right to tell us we can't talk to them. And we know because of talking to them that they both have had protection orders and that there have been incidents in the home. And I think there's a duty to warn, and if you see something, say something. And I don't always like how my husband delivers messages, but I think it was important to say something when you know that there's a child playing in the home. I do want to say, I don't think Walker would hurt the children. I would hope he wouldn't hurt the children. I'm not saying that he's a threat to the children. I just know, because I've witnessed it, that he has a short fuse and a very aggressive anger, and it's intimidating and it's scary, and I wouldn't want my child to be present when that goes off. That's what I want to say about Alice. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for shutting the fuck up. Oh my god. Can you imagine if this is the biggest problem that you have in your life? Oh my god. Oh, Lord. Maybe I don't want to visit Thurston County. I know what I do want.
Cruz, do you have questions?
Yes, I do, just briefly, Your Honor. I do know. Okay, so I want to talk about the most recent incident on July 26th. And I have, I guess, a question for either one,
Well,
because,
Yeah, right now it's just questions for Ms. Whiteside since she's the one who just finished testifying.
okay. Well, I guess, I mean, she's already testified, but Ms. Whiteside, is this the most recent incident that you testified to, is that the only incident that you have with Mr. Walker in what you describe as acting this way?
With me personally, yes.
Okay.
When he asked me to tell Ted to stop talking about him, he was very calm. I appreciate it.
Okay. So he was calm.
In the other incident, this incident, he was everything but calm. He was enraged.
Okay. And you've known Walker for 20 plus years, correct?
Correct. We knew his wife, Anne Marie, before that, actually, before they moved in the neighborhood. But yes, we've known him
Okay.
since.
And so you've had many, times where you've spoken to him, and nothing like what you're testifying today has ever occurred to you.
Well, I will say I don't go out and talk to the neighbors as much. I walk the dog and I say hello to people, yes. And I expect them to be friendly, and I would expect Walker to be friendly. And yes.
Okay, I just want to know that you've had
I'm
other
more of an
encounters.
Introvert, and I don't socialize in the neighborhood as much as my
Okay,
husband.
but you've had other encounters, correct, with my client in these about 20 years, correct?
He was never.
Okay,
Yes, I have.
Okay.
I
Okay,
wouldn't say
thank
I know Walker well at all,
Okay.
but I have had an encounter.
Okay. The incident where you're saying his dog ran over to you, when was that?
Actually, I'm gonna, we don't need to get into that. That's
I don't
not
know when
gonna,
the date
okay,
was.
yeah, well,
In the last.
no, okay, hold on. That's not gonna play into my decision
Okay.
regarding a order between the parties, what happens with the dog, so.
Okay. I don't have any questions for Carolyn.
Right, thank you. Mr. Foshaw, go ahead.
I'd like to, my name's Ted Theodore Foshak.
It's Theodore. Okay, buckle the fuck up. Oh no. Do I have any more drinks left? I don't think I do. I might have a Gatorade. TED Talks. Oh, legal fiction. But I love it. Guys in the truck. Oh. Fuck.
I'd like to make a couple interesting points. When Walker was interviewed by the police, he said that I had it looked like a water bottle. And now in this sworn statement right here, he says it's a wine bottle and I was going to hit him with it.
Okay,
It was this.
This is what we'd gone to a concert at San Michelle Winery. This is the glasses they give you. I thought it was cool.
Plastic.
It's plastic. It's light as a feather.
It might have looked like glass.
And
go ahead.
Not a
and
bottle.
there was about this much. It was a mix of a little bit of wine and spindrift. And I was like this. Callie's head was here, and his nose was right here in my face, just screaming. And I'm like, Walker, I'm going to throw this at you, meaning get back. I wasn't going to hit him. I wasn't going to, do that kind of thing. But to have somebody spitting, screaming, beat red head and face, going, don't talk to my fucking kids. Don't you get on my fucking property. And we're like, hey, we're at the park. Leave us alone. That's what's been like. Prior to that, I'd spent 3 hours working at the park. Came down with my dog, taking a shower. I'm opening the gate. It's a very heavy, large lock with a too short chain. So I'm fiddling, trying to get it undone. And here comes his dog around the corner. He's a big dog. He's probably 80 pounds. And he's a nice dog, but not to other neighbor dogs. I now know of 2 people that were so.
Okay.
But anyway, this is important because he said in there that I let his dog out. And I said, what? And the dog pushed so hard it pulled my finger back, trying to get my finger out of the lock and shoved the gate open. I'm like, geez, George, this is what we deal with all the time since he's had that dog. He takes off. I'm like, George, get back here. I didn't know if his dad was in the park.
If this dog doesn't have a trust fund, George, I mean, who does? This is ridiculous. Is the dog available to testify? We need an interpreter and the dog on standby. Stat.
Or not. So I'm going, George, and he comes around the corner. He goes, did you just do what I think you did? This is how he talks to his neighbor. And I said, what do you mean? George just pushed me and about ripped my finger off. He goes, yeah, you let my dog out. I said, no, I did not let your dog. He wouldn't quit. I said, fine. I turn around, I start walking away, and he's coming after me. Literally, 2 fists in the air going, I'll fucking beat your head in. I'm like, what? I'm walking faster. I don't know where the dog was. And in here he says, my dog could get hit by a car. It's a dead end road, first of all. And said that he's so worried. He keeps coming. I have sworn at him one time. I said, F off. I'm sick of this. That's the one swear word. If he says I swear at him, tell me some of the swear words. I have never sworn. I don't cuss. I don't yell at my kids. I don't swear to my kids. He kept coming. So I turned around and I headed two houses down is the president's home, and her husband was there and she wasn't. I was so shaken, like right now. And I'm like, guess what just happened? Good Lord, I can't believe it. Where's this gonna go? I called the police on that. But of note, he talks about the dog being unsafe and that I let him out on purpose. Guess what? Wednesday morning, I had a contractor at my house. We were at the end of his tailgate was right on the road, looking at his product sample for gutters. I'm looking over and here comes George out of our front yard. I didn't see Walker anywhere. I don't know if he was
happened with
walking.
the dog isn't important.
Well, I realize that, but the complaint is I let his dog out on purpose.
Okay.
And here's his dog in my yard. Was he worried that he was going to get hit by a car? I don't know. But Walker has a very suspicious nature. He sends me this picture, and it's the neighbor lady.
Legal fiction, breaking up the absolute travesty that is this case so far. First of all, thank you so much. Did you see some of those names? Sharon has been around lately. I'm so glad she got a membership. Viking Web Productions showed up again the other day, and Bradley as well. If you got a membership, check out the members only's vault, I guess you could call it. Don't come at me, Disney. But thank Legal Fiction. Thank you for interrupting the TED Talk. Fuck yeah. It is a TED Talk. We have to go back 10 seconds because I'm fairly positive he's full of shit as usual, but he said something even crazier.
But Walker has a very suspicious nature. He sends me this picture, and it's the neighbor lady who's the president in the park with a contractor.
I'm sorry. I haven't seen that, Your Honor.
Okay. So you want
No.
Okay. Anyway, it's a picture he sends to me. And I said, why are you sending me this? And he goes, you know all. It's because there were 2 gates that went to the side of the lake property that's adjacent to his property. They were always collywobbled, and that's how the dog used to get through. And he was asked over and over. Finally, the board spent $1,000 to have those 2 gates removed and new fence put in with the metal cleat.
Ted is a freak. There, I said it. Legal Fiction, 21 months of support. Thank you so much. And thank you again for all the gifts. Leanna doesn't look impressed. I'm impressed. I'm exceptionally impressed with your generosity. Thank you. Ted, however, is a freak, allegedly. In my opinion, and Bill says, Walker probably asked for it. Look at him. He definitely asked for it.
All the clips. That's what's been unattached and removed, and now it's hanging over. We just paid $1,000.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to relevance.
And
All right, Ms. Cruz, as you can tell, I'm giving you lots of leeway here. So.
well, the point is a lot of the contention is his dog down on the lake. Another thing that happened recently, his dog jumped in. This leads to Allie. His dog jumped in. And he comes at you like this, trying to get you. Big dog. And she had just gotten off her paddleboard. We're coming up to the dock, and I'm like, yeah, trying to hold George back. Finally, Walker shows up on the dock, and he's like, George, I'm not kidding. He staggers about 3 or 4 times now. I was right here watching it. And I thought, well, that's interesting. Finally, he reaches in, he grabs the dog's collar, jerks him out of the lake, and throws him on the dock, and he stepped backwards like 3 or 4 steps. And I thought, wow. When I talked to Callie, Allie, her little daughter had been down there swimming. She's
okay,
pretty little.
All right. I don't need to hear everything that goes on in the neighborhood.
But
All I need to hear is what happens between you and Mr. Yost.
But he's put this in here, and
that's all I need to hear.
Her statement says, I said he's a habitual drunk. I've seen Walker drink beer a few times. He's not a habitual drunk. I never said that. Why would I say that? I just said it's.
Adam, happy birthday. Do you want me to sing to you? I will give you no choice. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Adam. Happy birthday to you. Yes, I'm in the middle of a photo shoot. I'm sending a hot pic to somebody. Deal with it.
It's weird. It seemed like he might have been. Anyway. Yes, I did make a statement with his custody issue because I knew somewhat of it had been going on. I had heard some of the noises. I had seen some of the things happening, and this was a pattern from his prior 2 boys and their mother. Walker called me one day and said, Ted, give me a ride to pick up the boys. I'm like, well, he goes, I'm at your car. I came outside, I drove him over, pulled up the driveway. He rolled the window down about 2 inches. He leans back and he goes, where are the boys? To Anne Marie, the boys' mother. And she said, Walker, you are 20 minutes late. They are finishing their dessert. She goes, they were out here. And he goes, get them now. And rolled the window up and looks over at me. And I thought, you'd be like that in front of me? So Anne Marie's tone of voice was very strong because of what she's dealt with for years. So I've had 2 neighbors approach us walking in the last couple of days. One of them said, you know that we don't go down the street anymore because George attacked our dog and jumped when our husband picked it up.
He just wants to.
Yeah, but I didn't go down and say anything about that. If I was so angry and gonna run down and give him a bad time around, I don't go on his property. I will tell you, true fact, about 2 years ago, after he bought the house, I don't know the exact time frame, and the gentleman that had the person come and do the tree work said, I don't remember dates like that, and I don't want to get involved in the Walker Triangle. But I heard chainsaws. We have covenants in our neighborhood, but the main thing is his property is on wetlands. I walked down there and I said, Walker, what are you doing? And he immediately went into off my property, go, blah, 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 and walked all the way to, and I'm like, whoa, I couldn't believe it. But he clear cut all the way to the lake on land that is not his and on wetlands, which is totally wrong. So have I been on his, he says I go on his property about 2 years ago. I haven't set foot. I used to blow his driveway. I'd take his garbage cans in, but you know, for years, we've been to their kids' birthday parties. And he says that I snoop in his finances. I was at the birthday party one time downstairs, and Anne Marie comes in and goes, so-and-so's at the door. They send him down. They went into a small room. It sounded like they locked the door behind him. He came out. He had a very old paper grocery bag that had been rolled and was all wrinkly under his arm. He turns around and heads up, and boom, turns around, there's Walker, and he goes, yeah, his friend came by to pick up some books. Books?
Okay.
Yeah.
You're getting into things.
But that, see, he says I've meddled in his finance. Like, you haven't been to work in 3 years. How do you pay all your bills? So, yeah.
You know, all I want you, Mr.
Yeah.
Poshak, is to tell me why you need a protection order, not all the different.
Because
things
this
that
is the third time this has happened to this level. And I know he's under a lot of stress, financially, emotionally, hired multiple lawyers, fighting another protection order. I get that. That's why we don't want anything to do with him. I was on the board for 20 some years. I went off, and as soon as I got off, they need people. People don't want to be on the board. Walker was there. I wasn't. We were out of town, so he's on the board. So I approached the president and said, do you really want someone on the board that has been arrested for domestic violence? Is that okay to be on the board? And I said, I don't want anything to do with the board. I won't run for the board again until this changes. I've mowed the lawn down there for 7 years.
Okay,
I don't do
why
anything.
you need protection from Mr. Yost? That's all.
Because with my wife there and with his son standing there, here's what triggered him. I could see his son standing at the corner like this, witnessing him running over after us. He turned around and started to walk away. And then he turned back and I don't know what he was yelling. It was all so loud. And I said, Bodie, do you see what we have to put up with your dad? That's when he walked away. And then Walker told him, go walk the dog. He just yelled it at him in the same tone he was yelling at us. And to have him bump into Callie and be right here, that's like, what does it take? The first incident like that, when he came after me, I called the deputy and he said he said he was going to beat my fucking head in 3 times. And he said,
when did that occur?
I don't have that report right here in front of me. It's in the record. It's through the sheriff's department.
I think that was before COVID. It's been years ago.
Not before COVID.
Yeah. There
I
was
don't
no
think so.
Just give me an approximation. A year, 5 years.
A few years, yes. But that it hasn't been that long. Anyway,
Get focus or something.
the deputy sheriffs asked me on the phone. My grandfather's a deputy sheriff. I grew up playing in the jailhouse. Okay, I have great respect for law enforcement. He said, did he say he would kill you? And I said, no, he did not say he would kill me. He said he would beat my effing head in. Let's have it out. Come on, right now, me and you. And I'm like, that doesn't, I said, can you just go talk to him and say, hey, did this happen? Like, no, we don't have the deputies to do that.
So
But
there's that incident. There's the incident in front of the mailbox. You said there was a third.
when he came into our driveway.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Cruz, any questions for Mr. Poshak?
Yes. The incident where you said he came into your driveway, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And this is not something that was in your petition, is that right?
Correct.
Okay. How long ago was that?
Probably 2 years ago, wouldn't you guess?
I know, time is
Yeah.
weird. We've lived there so long.
We've lived there 27.
I would say, I mean, I think what
Okay,
we're
no,
getting
no,
at
right,
here
right,
is,
right. I'm sorry. Right now, it's just Mitch Poshog answering.
Okay.
But you don't know when it was.
Right,
Okay, Ms. Cruz, go
Okay.
ahead.
but it's been
Okay,
in
no,
the,
okay,
in
hold
the
on.
3, sorry.
Go ahead, Ms. Cruz.
Okay. And will you please remind me what was said in the driveway, since it's not something that was in your petition? I wasn't prepared.
Say that again?
What was said in the driveway? Your
Just
driveway.
exactly what Carolyn said, that he did this thing about saying that he wanted me not to talk to anyone else in the neighborhood. The irony of that is neighbors have come to me and said, hey, have you had problems with Walker?
Okay.
That's what's opened the
So
conversation,
just
because their dogs have been attacked by his dog.
okay, so just sticking to my question, right? Did my client come to you and did he say not to have any more contact with him?
He did not say that.
Did she say come? I'm distracted. Okay, keep going.
So
Did
what-
not ever say don't have contact. He did say don't come on my property, which I
Okay.
haven't been there 2 years, at least
Okay.
2 years.
So he said, don't come on my property. And what else was said?
Uh, I think he made that fairly short and sweet and walked away.
Okay. So he said,
He
don't.
didn't at me that day, if that's ruined. No, he did not.
Okay.
Because he's present.
So on that day, the most recent incident, when you are walking on July 26th, you state in your petition, you're walking to kind of this neighborhood park, correct? I just want to
Yes.
be clear that you.
First of all, I'm reminded of that park episode where, Mikey, where you guys found like 74 men in the park. Do you think that's this kind of park that they're talking about, or something different? And he did say, don't come in my back door. It writes itself.
You walked up to Bodie. Bodie did not walk up to you.
Bodie was standing at their mailbox right at the corner. It looked almost like he was leaning against it. That mailbox is about 30 feet from the end of his driveway.
Just to my question, sorry. You went up to my client's son. My son's client did not walk up to you, correct?
Who's 21 years old. But
Correct.
what you have to know, he
Sir,
stops in
sir,
our yard.
Sir,
frequently.
please.
Yeah.
You walked up to his son, correct?
I did.
And this was
And so did
after you've had prior incidents where he says, stay off my property, where you allege that he said he'll beat your fucking head in, and such. You still went up to his son and felt that that was appropriate, right?
I don't have any problem with his son. His son loves us. He's asked us to walk
I
with
just
us.
want to know. And then this is after you made a statement against my client in a family law case involving another child. Is that correct?
my statement against Walker.
I didn't make a statement against Walker. What I said is, here's what I experienced.
Okay, you made a statement in my client's family law case, not on behalf of him, but on behalf of the other party involving his child. Is that correct?
I
Do I
made
have
a
that right?
statement about what happened between us.
Yeah, obviously.
Okay, and then however, you stated that you have been on his property, correct? Is that right?
I stated I have been on his property.
You when there was a tree cutting
I've been in
incident, you
his
walked
house
on.
and at his children's birthday, my daughter
Okay.
babysat for
You
over
walked,
a year.
sir. You walked on his property during the tree cutting incident. Is that right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And did he kind of guide you off of his property and let you know he did not want you on his property?
Guiding or threatening me?
Did he lead you off of, did he let you know he did not want you there?
Correct.
Okay. Were you confused by that?
I had not seen that kind of behavior from Walker, but I know he has boundary issues. I know that about his childhood.
Okay, but you're stating that my client has boundary issues.
Yes.
Okay. Um,
Well, he won't leash his dog.
Hold
for
on,
one.
sir.
He's
Sorry, we're
intimidated
just,
many of the
sir.
neighbors. Those are boundary issues.
sir.
Yeah.
I don't have any further questions, Your Honor. I just have some questions for my client.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. Okay, so Walker, are you there?
Yep. Do you want me
Okay.
closer?
Yep, I've just got some questions for you. The petitioner here, he's been a neighbor for 20 years, give or take. Give me a quick overview of your relationship and how it's progressed over the years, just quickly.
Oh gosh. Quickly, 20 years. Let's see. I've known Ted and Callie for 20 years, and we share a mutual friend who's been friends with their family for more than that. So there was definitely some camaraderie in that sense of, oh, okay, I have a good friend, they're friends. And but I didn't know Ted. And then the first time that I met him outside of the park was at Fred Meyer, and Ted would always talk for extended periods of time. You know, I drive by, we talk through the window, and then at Fred Meyer one time he stepped right in front of my cart and started talking. And I was like, huh, okay. And I just leaned back on my cart and he talked for 45 minutes. And I was just amazed. And then after that, I kind of just knew that this was Ted, that this was the man that was going to keep talking. And so after that, I literally would just say, bye, Ted. And I would just drive off or walk off with the understanding that I was being rude and a general respect to most people. But with him, it was a mandatory thing for me to carry on with my day. Let's see. I did split with my first wife, and I was never around when their daughter came and babysat, so I don't even know if that's true, but sure, I don't see why not. And I think at some point, you know, she moved out, I moved back into the house in the hopes of purchasing it, and my name was on the lease. And we had a good friendship. I felt neighborly in that regard. I mean, I pressure washed his roof. Um, as a thank you when I wasn't living there because, you know, I was just being kind, neighborly.
Is that a sexual euphemism for pissing on his wife or something? I'm confused. You pressure washed his roof? That seems like a weird thing to do for no reason. Done that? I'm not getting the upside down pineapple vibes from these people. Unfortunately, maybe that would make this case more interesting. I'm just getting overwhelmingly annoying.
But then it kind of shifted. I don't know why or what happened. And it sort of occurred after the time he came onto my property and started yelling and cursing about the tree trimming. And I just was kind of shocked, and I walked him gradually just as he spoke, and I spoke. He followed me. I walked him up to the driveway, and then that was him getting off. And I never cursed at him.
You. What? So did he come on the driveway or the lawn, right?
Walked him up to the driveway, and then that was him getting off. And I never cursed at him. But he did ask me at that time, you know, why I wasn't allowing him on my property, and why he asked me why I was upset that he came on my property. And I told him then that, you're not in my friend circle, Ted. And he seemed very upset by that. And I, I said, you're close. I said, we share a very mutual friend who is, and, but you talk behind my back, you tell people my business, and I've asked you not to do that, and it continues to happen. And that was the end of that. And it wasn't anybody yelling that I recall, other than when he came onto the property and was cursing at me.
Hey, Loud, any of your neighbors come on your property while cursing? That seems to be a problem in this neighborhood. Nice to see you. Welcome. Is that a thing in America? People coming all over each other's property?
For having somebody trimming branches on my tree, on my property. But after that, he stopped talking to me, and he was very curt and rude. And I saw him and Callie on the dock, and I said, hey, Ted, it's all love, man. Like, just because you're not in my circle doesn't mean like I don't care for you. And he ignored me, and I was like, okay. And then after that, I heard that he was telling people that I was dealing drugs, and I was like, what? And so then I bumped into them as I was walking my dog, and they were walking their dog. And I spoke to Callie because he wasn't talking to me. And I asked her to tell him to please have him not tell people lies about me. I didn't even know about the one he's telling people I'm a drunk. I don't drink, so I don't know what he's talking about. Never been drunk in front of him or anybody. So that was the first kind of like interaction. I didn't curse at him. The other time we were in the lake, I was in.
Hold on, are we to believe that? Never been drunk? Ever? In front of anybody? Or does that just mean you drink solo, Walker? He's like, I actually specifically only get shit-faced alone. Reseller road trip adventures. That's part of my plan. That way, no witnesses.
In the park before him, I guess. And he walked in. I was down by the water. My dog, when he hears the jingle of the gate, he runs, and Ted let him out. And I just walked over, and I said, Ted, why are you letting my dog out? And it's at the end of a road, but there's a continuation of a road. There's 5 more houses that have cars coming. So yes, there is a danger for him to get hit by a car. I called my dog back in, and I said, why are you letting my dog out? And he started cursing at me. And I don't know why he was angry with me for asking him why he's letting my dog out. My dog is a golden doodle, so I don't know. Anyways, I was threatened at that point. I never went on the other side of the gate. I simply.
You threaten a bald man's golden doodle. You threaten him. Okay? That is ridiculous. You can fuck with him all you want, but you go after a golden doodle named George? What is wrong with you? What is wrong with these people?
He called my dog back in. I closed the gate. He's yelling at me. And I said, you want to keep cursing at me? Why don't you come back on this side of the gate? And then he walked off, and that was the end of that. As for him getting involved in my case with the mother of my child, that was quite shocking. I don't know why he thinks he owns my house or ever owned my house. That was a little bit weird. He never has. What else are we talking about? So then after that, what happened? Oh yeah, we didn't have any contact after that, like nothing. I was like, okay, well, there goes that relationship. And then I heard about him telling my neighbor that I was a drunk, and I was like, this guy's still going on. And then what else happened?
Just the most recent incident, really quick, involving your son.
Oh, that one. So then I drove home and I'm sitting in my car, I'm talking to Russell, and all of a sudden I hear him. I wasn't even gonna get involved in it. If he's talking to my son's an adult. Okay, like I'm not gonna make a big deal out of it. But then I heard him asking my son where we get our dog groomed. And after him filing his thing with the mother, I didn't feel safe with any information being given to him about my life. And so I stepped out of the car, I walked calmly out, and I said to my son, I said, we do not talk to him, we do not share information with him. Please just go walk the dog. At that point, they were very upset that I had interrupted this conversation. And he started yelling at me, no one likes you, you're a fucking asshole. And then I started yelling at him and said, do not speak to my children. Do not speak to my children, Ted. And he started cursing at me, saying I was drunk, saying all these crazy things to me. And I said to him,
Look
you
at
need to
okay,
stop.
you
You need to stop talking to my children. And
That seems wild. It's our house, Bubba says. Lucky I'm in Canada. But, that is wild that Streamlabs is #1 and has the crown. That seems to be an oversight. I can't believe some of you are being beaten out by Streamlabs. Shame. Shame.
instead of him just saying, okay, he kept saying that I was these terrible things and cursing at me. And at some point, because I'm yelling at him, he threatened to throw that thing at me. I didn't know what it was, other than it was a cup filled with something that looked red. And at that point, his wife, who had been off to the side, not involved in our yelling, jumped in front of him, because if he had thrown at him, then it would have been assault. And at that point, you know, my friend who was on the phone, Russell, was just like, walk away. And I did. I walked away. I never raised my fists. I never threatened him. I never touched Callie. Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
that was that.
Okay, thank you. Your Honor, I think my client has kind of he's cleared everything up. I just have a quick closing.
We're not
Just
far
a moment.
behind you, Courtney. After this case is done, it's time to say
respond,
goodnight.
please?
In 2 minutes.
I need to take off all my clothes.
Right now.
Oh, 2 minutes.
You get 2 minutes.
Okay.
No more than that.
He did not hear me ask his son where the grooming was. As soon as he pulled up, rather quickly, through the door, jumped out, grabbed his sunglasses, and he goes, "Don't talk to me. Stay off my phone." And we're like, "Whoa." And he goes, "Dad, where do we get George trimmed?" And he goes, "None of your business." And so did he calmly walk over? No. Was his son worried and concerned? Yes. But I have a concern. He was a witness and he heard me say, because I could see him stand there, "See what we put up with your dad." I said that for a reason, so that Walker could hear that your kids and us are communicating about what you're doing right now. They never interviewed him. But he magically says he had his phone in his hand. He had his sunglasses in his hand. The other hand was open. There was no phone being held up. That's why when we saw this, like, what? You know, I said, "Did you see a phone?" He had his glasses in his hand. So I don't know quite how it happened because it's not clear from the report, but it's interesting to me. An eyewitness you don't interview, but someone who was on the phone, you call them back and hand them the phone and say, "Here, this guy listened to the conversation." In the original report, they said that Ted was not yelling or cussing at anyone, but something I could tell they were talking loudly or something like that. In the next statement that he signs and sends into court, he says that I was cussing and yelling. And I find it interesting. What did I say? What cuss words have I used? I have not. I did not call him a drunk. I said to her, I don't know, maybe he was drunk and he was really staggering, and the way he jerked the dog out of the lake and just continued to drag him back to the dog.
All right.
So
let's
have I
wrap it up.
cursed and yelled? Did he calmly walk me off the property? Absolutely
Okay,
not.
all right, we've now
Yeah.
gone through a
Yeah.
number of different incidents. Okay, thank you. All right, briefly, Ms. Cruz.
Thanks, Judge. So pretty much what we have here is I think the past incidents, like we've heard, they're pretty old. But we're not even precisely sure when. 2 years, maybe three, who knows, possibly four. But I think my client made it clear. He told them, and which the petitioner testified to, he said he just, kind of said, hey, stay off my property or leave me alone or whatever he said. That was the petitioner's warning. Clearly it wasn't taken. So we have an incident where petitioner is walking up to my client's property when trees are being trimmed on my client's property, which he testified to and admitted that. And then it sounds like the most recent incident, he stopped in front of my client's home, which yes, he can have access to the public roadway, that's fine, but he approached my client's child. Keep in mind that he's been known to blow leaves on my client's property. He just testified that he moved my client's garbage cans. He inserts himself in situations, Your Honor. He made a statement as a neighbor. He made a statement in my client's divorce and custody case involving another child. Why would my client want this person, a neighbor, to talk to his son? And just constantly inserting himself. I think we heard today that the petitioner does have a tendency to talk. So, my client saying, hey, you seem to be an individual who likes to gather information and possibly spread it around. He's made it clear, I don't want you on my property. I don't want you, spreading information about me. I just don't want you to be around me anymore. I don't think the petitioner liked that, Your Honor. I don't think he liked that, and I think that caused some rift between the two. But regardless, my client, we submitted a declaration by another neighbor, which I think is very telling, somebody else in the neighborhood, who it doesn't sound like has, a severe friendship with one or the other. So it's somebody that is removed from the situation and has a lot to say about my client being neighborly and about the petitioner having a tendency to spread information and be in people's business. We also submitted a declaration from somebody who was on the phone with my client stating that he heard the conversation, and he did. My client said, hey, don't talk to my kids. Stay clear of my family. My client's not saying they can't walk in the road, that they can't go to the park, nothing. But hey, don't stop and talk to my kids. Don't be on my property. So if anybody's harassed, Your Honor, it's my client. My client, and I found it interesting that the petitioner testified today, quote, we don't want anything to do with him. Then why are they stopping to speak to his son? We don't have any report from any of the times that the petitioner stated that he made a police report. He can't tell you exactly what was said in a driveway incident, and we can't even tell when it was. There's a lot of frankly, Your Honor, and you've heard it, there's a lot of testimony today about a dog. I don't know if the petitioner is angry about the dog, but that is not a reason to get an anti-harassment protection order.
That's in dog court, and we have still not found the link. If anybody has the link to that, let me know. But we have actually heard people ask for protection orders against dogs before. It doesn't work.
And then, I don't know whether or not statements were made about my client being an alcoholic or anything like that. I just want to point out that the petitioner was the one, in fact, out drinking wine in the neighborhood and admitted on giving testimony today, admitted on the record that he would throw a drink at my client. So he is the one today who admitted to threatening. So, Your Honor, my client, he doesn't want anything to do with these people. He is not going to their home. They are coming to his son, inserting themselves in his family law case, coming to his property. He has not made himself available to them by coming to them. So we're asking, Your Honor, to dismiss the petitioner's request today for a protection order. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for almost being done. Go ahead, get your guesses in the chat. Do we think that it will be a big D? Well, finally, will we get the D tonight? Between you and me, maybe? Let's see. Let's see. There was so much coming. There was so much backdoors. There was talk of getting off. There was, it was just everywhere. Everywhere. Spewing everywhere.
Can I also have?
No. I think I've heard enough here.
Could I possibly?
No. I've heard enough. Thank you.
Because there is a factual.
I've heard enough. Thank you. There are two ways this can go, based on what I've heard and what I've read. I can enter orders against both of you, or I can not enter either order and say, stop talking to each other. You don't want court orders. You don't want it. We don't want it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to deny this request for an order. It's very clear. Both have spent an hour now saying why you don't want the other one to have any contact with you. Both made that very clear to each other. I expect you should honor that. To the extent that you don't, then you have the right to say, okay, after this hour-long hearing in court making it clear we don't want to speak to one another.
Oh my God, MB with the big D. Hi, miss you, my friend. Yes, the big D. Judge, why did you let them go on so long? What the actual fuck? That should have cost them $120 in therapy bills. Now it's just gonna cost me.
They spoke to me, they come on my property, whatever it is. You can come back and file a request. But we've laid the bright line here. You both have said, I don't want to have you speaking to me. Now, let me clarify a few things. The road is the road. It sounds like a public road. Standing in front of somebody's mailbox is not being on their property. I'll be very clear about that. So I don't want Mr. Yost saying that if there's a pause in front of his house when they're on the public road, they're on his property. That's not accurate. Also, an adult child is not a child. So if the adult child wants a protection order, the adult child can come get a protection order. But in the meantime, Mr. Yost has no authority to direct somebody else not to speak to an adult. So that authority does not exist. It doesn't have to be respected as part of the understanding here. The understanding here is Mr. Yost will not have any contact with Mr. Foshog and Ms. Whiteside. Ms. Whiteside and Mr. Foshog will have no contact with Mr. Yost. That's what we're talking about here. Also, what we're not talking about here is what people say to others about them. So what Mr. Yost says to others about Mr. Foshog, what Mr. Foshog says to others about Mr. Yost, there's no authority in the court at all to restrict what people say to others about somebody. So that's not ever going to be something that this court will consider. So the fact that Mr. Foshog may have filed.
Yay! Welcome back and welcome to the crew, Sherdell. Your husband's lucky to have you fixing the table. I'm assuming you don't mean like putting out food to eat, but you literally mean fixing it. Because it could go both ways. Thank you so much for becoming a member, MB. Everyone does love the pee-pee noise. I will check it. Judge is telling these people to leave each other alone, by the way. He's like, please don't fucking talk to each other anymore and don't come back.
Filed a petition or a affidavit in a dissolution action. He has every right to do so. The court has every right to hear it, and that should have no bearing on a subsequent protection order request. Or so all of those things happen, and they are not subject to any court restriction. So I want
MB, I love you, my friend. Thank you so much. Oh, you're amazing. Amazing. Hold on, we can do the thank you. We can at least do that. I'm so excited for my trip, and I am so thankful to you for sending a PP too. Where's the thank you? Where is it? I don't have it. Do. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh.
to be very clear on that. But we will end up being very clear that you both, three of you have said, I don't want you contacting me, and vice versa. So that's my expectation going forward. That's why I'm denying the request for an order here, because you're all adults and I expect a very bright line rule you can understand. So that's all we're doing today.
If I'm willing to have the order against me, would you put both into effect?
No, I'm not gonna put orders in.
Well, I thought you
Sir!
said that was an option.
It was an option that I was thinking of, but I
Okay,
decided not
okay.
to do it.
I understand.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, and Ms. Yost, Ms. Whiteside and Mr. Foshog are obviously in court. They'll get a copy of the denial order. If you wish one, you can access it through the district court file.
And what was that, what you were describing that we can do? Do we have an appeal right to this, or what was?
I don't think they said anything like that. Sherdell, oh, you're a hoarder for parts. I'm a hoarder of court. And I am so thankful that I get to share that all with you, giving me a purpose. Yes, a purpose. And guess what? Tomorrow we'll be back at it again, but it'll be an earlier show. I'm going to let this play out because he's trying to be smarmy here with the judge. The judge ain't having it as usual. This couple is horrible, but they are on par with the couple that told me today about their dog's trust funds. That's not a joke. That's not a joke. 6 figures per dog.
That you said.
Yeah, oh yeah, of course you can appeal. Yeah, I did not talk at all about an appeal. What I was saying is you have the right to file an affidavit in a dissolution action. There's
That's
nothing
what
wrong
I'm,
with
what
that.
is that?
That's a divorce.
He's saying you had a right to.
Oh,
Right.
okay, I'm sorry.
When
I thought
Avishon
this
asked for
was
help.
referring to us directly.
Okay, all right, thank you all.
Thanks, Judge.
Thank you, Mr. Cruz.
The dog, okay, we'll talk a little bit about the, before we say goodnight, we'll talk slightly about the case, the reality of what happened at work. So, they explained to me that they have multiple dogs. The dog, YouTube Daddy does sometimes censor things, Bubba. It's never us. It's always YouTube Daddy, I promise you. We don't block people. We don't censor. But, these people were telling me about their trust funds for their dogs, which is a weird way to talk about it, and then explained that often their dogs die before they use up the trust fund. And so one of the dogs then bought the lady of the house a Mercedes with the trust fund left over. And I was just like standing there quite perplexed about the whole thing. Like, I have a lot of things to do, and yet I'm here being polite about this. Anyways, probably about as much as I can say. You think that's a tax dodge? It probably is. You're probably right. That's exactly what it is, Bill. That's probably exactly what it is. Those sneaky bastards. Yeah. Terrible. Terrible. On my mind all day in a bad way. I've had a few other things on my mind all day. Baby. But, alas, we are going to say goodnight. We'll be back at it tomorrow. I'm sorry. Well, it's not really been that short. It's been an hour and 30 minutes. But, only one case, and tomorrow will be different. I did catch an earful this morning as I was walking out of the house of something I recorded. I'm going to check it out after we're done here. But I think I got some lady yelling at the judge about 3 years the AG's office has fumbled her case, and the judge trying to punt it down the road, and the lady being quite sassy. So look forward to that tomorrow and more. From your friendly neighborhood whore. That's me. Do me a favor, remember that I love you and I'm proud of you, and I will see you in the next video. Okay, bye. Bye.
Ways down red.